auto tune on.
Okay, so thanks for joining us in this shitty ass crawl space. Take a look around. This sucks balls. Okay, so furnace was installed here along with the air conditioner. What's left is soldering in the lines to the evaporator coil. Thanks for looking at the ground there.
Let's look at the lines.
So we're going to solder the lines into the evaporator coil. First off is we have to take this nut off, and we're going to let the nitrogen out. It's pressurized with nitrogen so you can hear it bleeding out. And we got our orifice there, and with the cap and O-ring. So the O-ring actually goes on this piece. It's actually an extra O-ring. This comes with one. This was just clipped to the outside. To pull the nitrogen out of the case coil. We'll pull the other plug out of the suction line, and we've got our piece that comes with it. The nut just goes through, and it's basically a compression fitting that's going to go right on here. So we will tighten that on. Okay, and we'll just clean the ends here with sand cloth. And get these ready to solder, or sorry, braze, if you will. And I'll get the lines cut to size, and we'll be back to braze. Okay, so we got our lines in place, all cleaned up, sanded down with sand cloth. We've got our stick of Silphos and our B-tank down here. Now we're going to solder these lines up. So I'll spark this up. Okay, so the lines are brazed, and we will get the hell out of this shithole and go outside and show you how to pressure test this air conditioning system. Okay, so now that the lines are soldered, brazed, we're going to pressure test the system to make sure there's no leaks. So we'll grab our refrigeration gauges and hook up the blue suction side to the suction line, which is the big one. Now you can see the service ports here. And take the cap off our liquid line. And we'll hook our red gauge liquid line up to here. nitrogen tank here, where we've already hooked up our regulator. Now we're going to turn this on, and we'll just turn the regulator up to get some pressure now. Open this middle line, and then we'll just let the pressure through the high side. We'll probably put around 250 to 300 psi to make sure there's no leaks. Okay, so we've got it at 300 psi, and we'll just make sure it's not leaking. Okay, so there was no leaks in our system. We held pressure at 300 psi for about 20 minutes, and we checked all the joints over to make sure it wasn't leaking. So I bled the nitrogen out, and now we hooked our 3/8 line, vacuum line, up into the vacuum pump, and our gauges are still hooked up to the service ports. Now we will turn the vacuum on, and open up our gauges to start pulling a vacuum. And we will hook up our vacuum gauge. We'll need to get it down to at least 500 microns to pull a good vacuum for R410A. And once the vacuum is pulled, we'll check back in with you. See you soon. By the way, this is our setup. We've got the high side gauge going to the liquid line, the low side to the suction line, our 3/8 vacuum tube, and then the other 1/4 inch port, which had a hose on it before going to the nitrogen. We hooked our vacuum gauge up to there. So just showing you the setup there. So now that the vacuum is done, I've unhooked it by closing off the gauges and then shutting it off. Now all that's left to do is open the valves and let the refrigerant through. Usually we would do a startup, but since it's too cold out today, we'll have to return when it's warmer and start up the unit to make sure it has a proper charge. Thanks for watching the video. Bye guys.
Do you love